So how do you use AI in SAT prep? This is a question you might have asked yourself before. And honestly, I have asked myself it many, many times before. You may not know this, but actually, I currently own the largest online school SAT community. And the way that I was growing the community when I first started out was I actually had this thing where it was a prompt you could put in a chat GPT to generate SAT practice questions. And it was pretty cool. I was pretty glad. I felt like it was a really cool idea when I came up with it. People kind of liked it. Some people did not like it. A lot of people thought it was good, but some people put it in and then they got like two questions that were too easy, or maybe they got questions that were just bad. Maybe the AI did the thing where it like hallucinated. So I stopped doing that. And for a while, I just kind of thought, okay, AI probably can't really be used that much for SAT prep. But I thought about it a bit more recently and I realized I've been using AI completely wrong for SAT prep. That is not how you should be using AI like Claude or ChatGPT when studying for the SAT. In actuality, it's a lot better than that. And you can use it for stuff that's way more powerful, way more easily as well. But first, let me give you a really good mindset for this. I genuinely think the best way to use AI is by thinking about it as if it is a person. Now, I'm not trying to say some kind of like weird, like AI is taking over the world. AI should be like people or anything like that. I'm just saying the way that you treat AI should be like you treat a person. And the reason why is because when you do that, it gets you better results and it allows you to use AI better. So think of it like this way. Pretend like you literally paid for me to tutor you, which you can with link in description. But regardless, say you actually paid for me to do that. What kind of things would you have me do? Well, probably the first thing is maybe you would have me make like a study plan for you. You would have me actually write out for you what things to use to study for the SAT. Maybe another thing is you would have me like explain different SAT questions, different SAT concepts for you. Maybe if you get a question wrong, you'll give it to me and then I'll actually like walk you through how you're supposed to do it. So those two things specifically. So just have AI do those two things. You shouldn't have AI do like problem generation, because think about it. If you had me be your SAT tutor, you probably would not just come up to me and be like, hey, John, generate for me 5 SAT problems that are like math and involve statistics or whatever. That would just be weird. And like, obviously I would not be able to do that well because I'm not like a computer that has infinite knowledge about the SAT. I have a lot of knowledge about the SAT, but not infinite knowledge about it. Instead, the things you would want me to do is like actually explain problems, explain different concepts, help you be able to understand it better, that kind of stuff. So one really good way to use AI is first, get your SAT problems from another platform. One that I really recommend is this platform Onico. You can see a link to it in the description. It's free to access, though if you do switch to a premium plan, I do earn a small amount of the money paid, so it is an affiliate thing. But it has over 28,000 practice questions. It has a 4.8 out of 5-star review. It's really good, and you can get a bunch of practice questions from this. Then what I say is go through those practice questions. Actually try to do them. But when you get one wrong, that's where the AI actually comes in. Put the question into the AI or take a screenshot of it and put this exact prompt. I'll put this in the description or in the comments. Say, I got this problem wrong. My answer is this, but it was actually that. And can you explain what mistake I made and what concept I'm missing? This is, first of all, really good because the AI typically is really good at like taking these kinds of different pieces of data and piecing together what actually happened. Like they may be able to look at what you did and, kind of like create this like formula of what actually happened for this problem. Second thing, and this is also really, really good, say what is the general rule or strategy for the problem and give me a step-by-step approach for it. So now I don't just know how to do this problem. I can actually use this for every single time I see another problem like this. If you put both of these together, the result you get is going to be absolutely unbelievable. And I'm going to show you why right now. So I'm going to put in this SAT problem. You can see here, this is like a vocab question. And I'm going to say this, my answer was, let's say my answer was C. And then the correct answer was B. And now it's going to give me the whole thing. So obviously when you give it this kind of information, it might take a little bit of time for it to actually generate the prompt. But once we get it, I'm sure it's going to be really, really good is the thing. Okay, so we have this here. So it says very specifically what disputed means and then what equivocal means. Then it talks about this, talks about what the cue should have been for why I should have chosen that. It talks about the evidence itself. And yeah, this is really good. Like this is honestly exactly what I would tell a student if they asked me why they got this question wrong. They talk here about when you would actually use disputed. And then they say here, what is the actual strategy? So you read past the blank, you identify what it modifies, you find the clue, you predict in your own word, and then match. This is honestly like really, really good. Like this is a good strategy for these questions. It's slightly different from what I typically recommend, but the prediction thing is like, that's perfect. Like that's really, really good. And then finding the clue, that's pretty solid. I don't always recommend students to do that, but it's a pretty good thing if you want to do that. It adds this. So it also says something here about the loop strategy. That's just because it knows me. It knows that I do this stuff, and it knows that I try to help students. That's not for you. You'll still get good results if you just put it in your own Claude. So this is really good. And the thing you want to make sure you do at this point is make sure that you're actually reading over the stuff that says. Like remember what I just said, treat it like it is a person. And so if you had me tutor you and I was giving you this long explanation as for why this problem was the answer it was, you would actually try to pay attention to what I'm saying, at least hopefully you would actually listen to what I'm saying, try to like understand what I'm trying to get at. And if you're confused about anything, of course you can ask me again, but you would try to pay attention. You wouldn't just skim over it and just kind of pay attention only to the random things that sound the most interesting. And that is another really good thing. If I'm still confused about this point, I don't have to just say that, okay, AI is useless. It didn't give me good results. I don't get it. It's bad. I can just, again, treat this like a human. I can say, hey, I didn't understand X thing. Explain it. Back to the human example again. If I was to explain something to you and you didn't get what I was saying at first, you wouldn't just say like, oh, John is a terrible tutor. I gave up. He's bad. I'm going to quit and go somewhere else. You would be like, okay, explain to me why you said the thing you just said. Explain to me what that actually means. And then I would go ahead and do it. And then it would make a lot more sense. We can show another example with this problem here. So this one's a math problem. It's going to be a little bit different, a little bit harder, but yeah, let's try it out. Okay, so we have this here. I can say my answer was 6.7, but the correct answer was 6.2. And then we'll have the whole thing. So this is also a really good explanation. It took a little bit for it to generate, as you can see by the timestamp on the left, but it's pretty good. And it's a really good result here. It talks about the points it gave me. It talks about the quadratic, which is really, really good. This is very important stuff. It talks about the method to solve it. The one issue with this, I will be honest, is that there is an easier way to use Desmos to solve this problem, which it does not really get, as it doesn't really understand that Desmos is usable on many of these problems, which is one issue with AI that I'll get to in a second. But other than that, it is a really good conceptual way of solving this problem. But keep in mind, the useful thing about AI, again, is that it can adapt to you. You don't have to just hope that it works the first time, because you literally have the ability to ask it more questions as you go through it. So another really good prompt is this. Basically, you explain the concept like you're somebody who understands, well, I have here, I understands nothing. But you can also say something like understands basic algebra or understands basic reading, but I've never seen this topic before. So you can use this prompt if it's giving you stuff, but you still don't understand what it is saying. So if I'm at this point now for this problem and I'm looking at it and I still don't get what it's saying about this math thing, I can just put that here. I could say explain. I can just say explain this concept. And yeah, I guess basic algebra would really be the one that works best. So put that in. And then, and only at this point, it makes sense to finally say something like this. Give me 3 more SAT style problems that test the same concept. Now, I know I just said this whole thing about why you shouldn't ask AI to generate problems, but this can be a good use of it, because if you've already given it a problem, AI typically is actually really good at coming up with different problems that just have different numbers in it or that change a few things around. It is, again, kind of like a human, because if you just tell me like, hey, John, give me a math problem that has to do with statistics, I probably would just give you some really bad thing. But if you gave me a specific example to look at, then I probably would be able to give you a better problem in return. I could probably think of things better. I could see more what you're actually asking for and create something good. And speaking of which, here's what it gave me for that thing I asked before. So you can see it literally comes up with an example of a story where it's like, imagine your friend telling you, I have some apples and oranges. Together they cost $10. And they literally explain all this. So, I mean, this is kind of cringe, but really, I probably am guessing that you understand this really well if you look at this. Yeah. A simple example you can actually try. Yeah, this is really, really good. I mean, this is unbelievably good, Loki. Oh, and by the way, back to that software I told you about, Onico, one really good thing about it is that you can actually use this thing within the app itself. So if I'm struggling on this one problem, I can literally put in these prompts in this AI tutor on the left side of the screen. So like this one, explain this concept like a high school student who doesn't understand anything. It's actually now going to just say it here in the screen itself. So this is really good. If you don't want to have to go into another AI software, you can just use Onico. And this is probably one of the best parts about the software, I'll be honest, that you have an AI tutor built into the thing. Now, before I end off this video, I do have to mention there are a few things for SAT prep that I really recommend you do not use AI for. The first one actually is making study plans. Now, I know you may be thinking, how would this be a thing that AI would not be good with? Because wouldn't this be like the thing that's best at making a study plan for a test? Like it should be really good at that, right? Unfortunately, the issue is most AIs don't really understand how the current SAT works. If you ask an AI about the SAT, it's probably going to assume you're talking about like the paper SAT. They probably won't even understand that you're supposed to use Desmos for it. They probably won't understand that a lot of the test is just grammar rules that you can just memorize. They won't understand that there's a specific strategy for passage questions. So if I ask AI to give me a study plan, it's probably going to be so bad that's not even really worth using in the first place. Unfortunately, this is something I also have seen from firsthand experience. I've asked AI to make study plans before, and they have not been that. A bit of shameless self-promotion. If you join my Mission 1400 Plus school community with the link in the description, I actually will develop a study plan for you myself, where I will actually go through this process, and it's not going to be an AI. It's actually going to be me coming up with what you should do every single day as you study for the SAT. So if you do want a good study plan, check that out with the link in the description below. The second thing you should not really have AI work on is anything that involves Desmos. This is also kind of based off the same thing. AI doesn't understand that this is now the digital SAT. They still think we're using a paper SAT. They think you have no graphing calculator on it. And you could see even in this problem that I had over here, it was not actually using the Desmos way of solving it. Also, for whatever reason, AI just doesn't seem to understand like Desmos regression. Like they understand regression with a table, but they just do not understand it without a table. I've asked AI many times, like, give me a Desmos regression problem, and they just can't do it for some reason. So AI, it just doesn't know it, I guess. I mean, I guess the programmers have not put in. I guess also some of these methods are a little bit more nuanced. So if you want to see my full Desmos regression video, you should check that out on the channel. It's another video. But yeah, Desmos, not really good if you're using AI. The last thing you have to be careful with, I'm not saying this is absolutely bad, but you should be careful whenever you're asking it about passage questions on the SAT. Because I've said many times in this channel, the best way to go through passage questions is making sure that you truly are reading every single word, making sure you truly understand what is going on, what's happening, because this allows you to have a very clear understanding of the passage. When you ask AI to help you with a reading passage question, though, sometimes they're using the old knowledge that you should skim over passages or that you should just read the first sentence or read the last sentence. This is really bad advice that AI might give you. So just be careful when you're asking it like that. You know, understand that it might give you something that's kind of bad for these questions. So you have to make sure that you're not doing anything bad. But these three things alone should not be a reason not to use AI. If you're somebody who enjoys using AI for other things, there's no reason why you can't still use it for these things, because it's still going to give you really good stuff. Especially if you use something like Onico, you'll get much more tailored SAT knowledge as well. If you don't want to rely on just AI for SAT prep, check out Mission 1400 Plus. I actually do one-on-one tutoring with all the students who join. Plus, we have another tutor in there that also does some of the work when there's too much. So this is really good, and you actually won't have to just rely on what the AI tells you. I can actually work with you one-on-one myself. Anyways, that's all for me today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to always stay Gucci.